Welcome back to Rebooked, the show where we talk about the men and women slapping meat in the middle of the ring and the stories they're telling in the process. I'm GB, and we got Matt. We have Jake. We're going to talk about what's been going on in the world of wrestling this week and the storylines that center around it. But first, it's our time to catch up and get to share feelings and how each other.
That it is.
Also, you know, I'm just going to get it out there. Your boy screwed up the recording, so we're running it back again. But it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
Cut.
Take two, brother.
Yeah, take two. All right.
True story. Did you ever know that?
Yeah. I've heard him say that before. Didn't he use that in a promo one time?
When they used to tape, they used to tape TV. Like Superstars, they taped like 5-6 episodes. He'd come out, have a squash match. Like the guy would take the razor's edge shitty, so he would literally just stop, look at the camera, go, cut, take two, pick the guy up again, and fucking powerbomb him again.
Wow,
that is actually pretty base.
Like
that's
he would
amazing.
Stop in the ring, so we get a take two moment as well.
Yeah, that's it. We get a take two moment. So there it is. Stop. Take two. Let's dive in. Matt, you're still on the road. You'll forever be on the road. You know, I think this is where you live and existence now.
This is my home now.
This is your home now. But yeah, how's everything been?
Good, man. We've left Rochester, our initial shows. I was bouncing around. I had to go to Albany for TNA Under Siege, then come back. Now we hit the road. I'm here in Vermont. We have a show tonight. And then we're back in Albany, and then we head down the East Coast. And 2 more weeks, 9 more shows, and we wrap it up.
Love to see it, man. Love to see you guys out there kicking butt. The last match seems to be popping off for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's very, very cool.
Yeah, and also, I mean, you were in. So we talked about this before, but I think it's worth mentioning again because I didn't know this. So you were in Rochester. You went to go see the Book of Mormon. Right.
Yes. So the touring company for Book of Mormon was in town, and tickets were there. Everybody kind of last minute bought up some nosebleed tickets. We're like, screw it, let's all go. And it was very cool. I mean, I knew the music, but I've never seen the show. It's fantastic. Go see it if it comes through your town.
Having done theater and now watching that, I have a question. Do you watch it and try and learn from it, or are you really just pure entertainment and just I'm just gonna?
There's a little bit about you watch. There's part of me that watches things like transitions, who does what, and the background. Oh, they're helping move this set. That's how they do that. Yeah. But I tried it there. I'm just trying to relax. You know what I mean? Just enjoy this show because it was the first time I'd seen it.
Hell yeah.
But extra little pop because I didn't even put one and one together. There's Rochester, or just about 30 minutes north of Rochester, is where Joseph Smith was supposedly pointed to find the golden plates buried in the, under a tree that are the third book of the Bible, which is the Book of Mormon or whatever. And they referenced Rochester in the musical, so there was a little bit of a pop,
That's great.
Holy crap.
That's where all this craziness started.
That's super cool. I had no idea. That's pretty amazing stuff. So, okay, sick. I've never seen it. I've never seen the Book of Mormon.
If you get a chance, it's worth.
Okay, all right, duly. I've been trying to go to theater more often. I want to try and become more of a civilized individual, and enjoy the arts.
Well, I don't know if you can couple civilized and Book of Mormon together, but
we went with an 84-year-old woman named Dolly who was running the Airbnb that some of the other cast was staying at, and she loved it, but she's like, there's a lot of dirty words in that.
Oh, that's adorable. Oh, that's awesome.
She's it's great though.
Yeah,
the music was very fun.
That's good. That's good. All right, Jake, what have you been up to?
I have been breaking down all of Drake and Kendrick's bars that they've been releasing in this wild feud that consumed my weekend. I remember my partner Shauna, she came home from working this weekend, and I was like, babe, Kendrick dropped another one. And she's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, okay. So it goes back to earlier this year on a
I did that with Cynthia too. I did that with my wife, and she just was like, dude, I don't care. Like, what is this? I was like, you don't understand. This is the greatest rap beef of the last generation. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
This is too good. Yeah, I mean, Kendrick's ripping that boy alive.
That's
you
what
know.
it seems like, man. I don't follow, but he getting real.
Yeah,
He's going deep.
It went.
I mean, they're playing Kendrick's "They Not Like Us" in clubs.
Yeah.
And people are like, I mean, they played Euphoria as a backing track on TNT, NBA on TNT. They also did, I think
They did Not Like Us as well.
like,
They did Not Like Us too. Like they are literally
nuts.
This man he's making just eviscerating raps, but at the same time bops as well, which is crazy. Like actually club bangers.
Yes.
And then Drake comes out with some weak shit, and no one like was it? You guys mentioned before the Always Sunny.
Yeah, we got to come out with a song about we do not diddle kids, no good diddle kids.
The worst way to get people to believe that you didn't do anything bad is to come out and very obviously say, I didn't. Yeah.
Oh God.
Kendrick did not mention Bobby Millie Brown or whatever. He did not mention Epstein. You brought it up. It's very weird.
It was weird.
I expected you to play this angle. Why did you expect it?
And then why was your response on Instagram like surprise?
Yes, if it was also planned.
If it was so planned, why didn't you just respond on IG and be like, he took the bait, got him, or something like that? Like, that would have been way better.
Bullshit.
Because it's bullshit. Because look, and there may be some Drake fans who we lost listening to this, and that's perfectly fine.
Come on, Drizzy.
Because
come on now.
As it stands right now, you'll be defending a pedo
until
proven otherwise.
Just admit,
So we're good. We're good. Oh, man. All right. Well, there's been a lot going on, though, in wrestling. So much so that we forgot some of it. So we were building the show, and I was like, what happened in WWE this week? And it turns out Backlash. Yeah. Because Monday Night Raw was really good. Monday Night Raw was pretty solid. And then, of course, we had Backlash. We had TNA have Under Siege. Also, TNA popped off for a lot of other reasons this week. We also had AEW only do one show, which was Dynamite Rampage, which 2 shows, but, it's like one. And
which is an awesome band name.
And
Dynamite Rampage. That would be a great
actually
band name.
Does sound like make your way to the stage. Dynamite Rampage. They come through.
Yeah.
And,
like a Rage Against the Machine knockoff.
Yeah, that would be great. We want to conform. Come on, So we had 3 hours of AEW, which, off the top, loved it straight out of the gate. I think 3 hours for AEW on Dynamite is very, very needed, but we'll talk more about that in a little bit. For now, though, let's talk about some TNA Wrestling. Because we got a lot going on over there. Firstly, we had, I was a little taken aback. I was like, holy crap, we just have Rebellion, and then we had Under Siege, like right around the corner. But Under Siege, like, was actually quite an entertaining show. Lots of things happened at that show, like just from, for stories, but also great matches. Matt, you lived it. Why don't you go ahead and tell us about it?
I mean, yeah, so like it comes up quick, and we have this every so often with our big pay-per-views because just the way, advantages, disadvantages of that filming schedule is that we need to make sure we have the exact number of episodes between the live shows. So sometimes that means we do 2 weeks of TV, and then we got to pump out a live special. So a lot of the time they end up being, we talk about transitional champions. Sometimes we have like transitional live specials because it's like, we know we're building to X at the next big pay-per-view, Slammiversary, Bound for Glory, whatever it is. So like this live special is kind of just a bump in the road. So it's maybe there's some story development, but no major title changes, no huge main event things like that generally. But man, this is a show that I think over-delivered. And like, even though that we had some cards subject to change, Jake something, if you're watching on the video version, was supposed to wrestle Hammerstone. He wasn't clear. So we had a little bit of a switch up. First Class got to tangle with Jake something a little bit. We're going to see some development in Jake's character. First Class changing their mindset. They're looking towards gold. Ace Austin and Mustafa Ali had a banger of a match. And this one, simple kind of number one contender shenanigans led here again. It was only 2 weeks, but they had an incredible match. Some great in-ring psychology from Ali and Ace, and they just tore it up for 20 minutes, man.
Yeah. I mean, those guys are insane, man. They're so freaking talented. Like TNA does so many things. The in-ring action of TNA is just always top notch. That's never a point of contention. The storylines are all there too. And honestly, Mustafa Ali has just I've loved everything. Like when he's on camera, I'm watching. I'm paying attention. He has been compelling. I love the story, and I love the fact that he's like putting on these incredible matches, but yet still being like that chicken shit, heel, like weaseling his way out of those wins. It's like he can go. That's not the problem here. It's very much a Seth Rollins kind of arc of him kind of doing a very similar thing of like just always leaning on what was it like a J&J Security and those guys back in the day. Yep. It feels a lot like that, but it's good. It's really good.
Yeah, no, and he brings so much thought to the character and to the matches and everything like that to try to make them different and better and all this. So very, very cool to watch. Throw on top of the main event, which was a 6-man tag with the system, big heel faction. They gained a title that night as well in the women's tag titles. But this one, 6-man tag, the world title's not on the line. The tag titles aren't on the line. So you're not going to get a major shift there. But, man, this one ended up being way more fun than I even expected. I knew it would be good. Given everybody involved, I knew it would be good. But this one, seeing Broken Matt back in the mix, Moose and his arrogance and the system's arrogance, but, they managed by hook or by crook to come out on top again. But this one, it went chaos. This turned into a war. There were tables involved. Alicia gets involved. It's one of just a brouhaha. It was a brouhaha.
Good old-fashioned brouhaha.
Yeah.
Love to see it. Yeah, no, it looked, and also the crowd, crowd was like super into it. Like, it's just what you want to see. That's just what you want to see. More wrestling. It's always good. It's always good for the soul.
My one issue with Under Siege, not a single appearance from Steven Seagal.
Yeah,
not a one.
We've been working on it for years.
It's not like he can't be that busy.
He is not busy. He's not. He might be on a no-fly list now. Maybe that's the difficulty.
He could very well be. But there was also some other wacky stuff that happened at Under Siege. Yeah. Big things. Matt, I want you to go ahead and share this guy. Really, I'm pumped. This is going to be super sick to see how it all unfolds.
Yeah, so talking about characters and whatnot and development, we saw the return of Jonathan Gresham. Of course, incredibly accomplished wrestler from Ring of Honor and all over the world. Technical acumen through the roof kind of guy. His comeback with a whole new look, a whole new character presentation. He's the octopus, but if you're watching on video, you'll see he now has this mask. It's the octopus mask, but he wears it in the ring. The tentacles are removed, but he's got his eye black underneath. It's almost this Muda-esque mask. And if you've seen the vignettes they've done, there's been a lot of exploration of like truth, lies, acceptance, all these kind of things, philosophical ideas. And now even Kushida in the match was very kind of off-put by it. But so more than just the Jonathan Gresham, great wrestler, we see that. But then throughout the match, he's hacking up things. He's heaving a little bit. There's something going on. And eventually he literally like regurgitates black ink.
Yeah. Which we saw in the promo with Santino when he shook his hand, and then Santino was like, son of my gun, and he's like rubbing the
and we're going to start to see, again, I can see into the future because we taped some episodes. You'll see this ink not only affect Jonathan Gresham, who covers his hand in it. It comes out from within him, but then he like smothers his opponents with it, almost mandible claw, face grasp style.
Yeah.
But it will also start to affect people around him. Like,
that's
Kushida,
cool.
The referee, Santino, people he interacts with backstage, things like that. I was saying this before. Normally I would go to somebody with this wild character and I'd be like, tell me about that. What is the inspiration? Where is this coming from? Explain this to me.
Yeah.
But I'm holding off a little bit, even as a commentator, because I just want to live these first few weeks with everybody else going, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
With Jonathan Gresham. Bit of a split personality thing going on.
Yeah, that's exciting, man. I like this a lot. It's I also just like that it's, he's not changing too much of himself in the ring right now. I want to see this character evolve a bit more. I want to see get a little bit more like animalistic, like how he was in the beginning of the match when he like was hunched over and just kind of like you could just tell he was like getting ready for war. I want a little bit more of that. But I really, really like this, like where this can go as he continues to become this thing more and more and more. It is very exciting. This is exactly what you want to see. Now, how does this merge in with the rest of TNA? That's going to be fascinating. That's going to be fascinating to see how that breaks down. But I'm pumped for it, man. And then, of course, there was one final thing with TNA that we got to talk about because we believe. That's right, baby. We believe
believes.
We believe in the master that is Joe Hendry. This guy just lighting the wrestling world on fire comes out. Well, first and
just
foremost,
the world. Just the world.
Actually, yes, the world
at large.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to
the second biggest story in music this weekend.
Outside of the beef.
It's true. There he is.
There he is.
If you're watching on video.
Well,
oh man, we have the video.
The wild thing
great.
was too is that so it's worked on like two fronts because one, for whatever reason, like his theme songs. If you ever watched TNA, you know his theme. It's very catchy and stuff like that. Joe Hendry's this inspirational character and whatnot. But so like it's catchy, it's funny, and it caught on. People like downloading the music. But then on top of that, like the entrance video where he just like shows up, say his name, and he appears is now like used in memes. Like so you can use, anytime like, hey, you can, somebody's talking about someone in a movie scene, you can plug this song and say his name, like stuff like that. He's on knowyourmeme.com. He has become a meme officially in the zeitgeist.
He's so good. He's so good. Another one where it's like, I'm curious where this goes from here because we were seeing a little while ago, First Class go up against like Jake something, and we saw that kind of building up. Well, it just seems like First Class is going to be picking problems with everyone. That's what I've wagered here.
Yeah, this is like Hendry is it's more like Joe Kendry. Because he's the Kendrick to First Class's Drake. Yeah,
that's true.
So you think they've First Class lost that song battle? I mean, yeah, kind of.
Yes, of course they did.
Yeah,
of course they did.
I mean, Joe Hendry he did a parody of Creed.
He did.
Creed.
And it was great.
And made it entertaining. That takes a genius.
It really does. It really does. I do got to give a lot of love, though, to AJ Francis, just because he plays a character so well.
Oh, dude. And he's all in on it, too. He loves it.
He's so just like as he's like making fun of him, Joe he like gets up. He said something about him being the Cheez-It champion, and he gets up, turns around. He was like, hey, but I had a belt, though. I had a belt. It was a nice belt, right? He's just like leaning into it more and more. And like, oh, man, it's too good. It honestly is too good. There's been a lot of exciting stuff. TNA, make sure you check it out Thursdays, YouTube for $1. Or you can also go check out TNA Plus, which will be a better bang for your buck because you get the pay-per-views on there, right? You get the shows on there.
Yeah,
so,
depending on what tier you get pretty much everything via TNA Plus.
Yeah, so no reason for you not to check it out. If you like pro wrestling, go ahead and support some good pro wrestling. There has been a lot of good stuff here. We'll see, of course, where things continue to build up. Also, we talked about like the system and what should be coming for them down the line. Seems like Matt Hardy's in the crosshairs. That's going to be fun. I think, though, that Moose needs to continue to be a dominant champion. And then we get Nick Nemeth Moose 2.0. That's what I want. I would love to see that happen.
I feel it brewing, maybe.
Yeah, I think Nick Nemeth needs to get a little bit more out there. He needs to have a few more classic matches with some folks. And then, we saw, I mean, hell, I would love to see Nick Nemeth square it off with Josh Alexander. I like it for a little bit because they fought once, right? Or have they fought yet? Or no, they haven't.
I don't know.
That would be great. Like to see
awesome.
Jake something, maybe get a little bit in
Jake
there.
something, Ali.
Ali,
You know what I mean?
you know?
Maybe Chris
Yeah,
Bay,
Ali for
Ace
sure.
Austin even. You know what I mean?
Man, that would be fantastic. It would be okay. There's a lot of directions they could go.
A lot
We're
of great
excited.
opportunity.
We'll be keeping up with it, of course, here on Rebooked. So if you like TNA and you want to talk more about it, this is the show for you. Now, let's go ahead though and move on to some AEW chat, because we had some stuff go on, but most importantly, we had the reveal of who is going to face Swerve Strickland for the AEW World Championship at Double or Nothing, and it is going to be, and that's the wrong one, it is going to be Christian Cage target Swerve's father, because you know something salacious is going to happen with this one. First and foremost, how do you guys feel about Christian Cage being the first challenger for Swerve's championship?
I like it.
Yeah?
I think it's great. I think it's a great one for him to go on. You know, we've kind of had this like, I think it just further establishes Swerve as a face, having him go against someone as despicable and shitty as Christian Cage.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think that's good. And then to have, you know, this seasoned hand, a legend, like it's another great notch on his belt to defend this title against him. I like, they're both great on the microphone. I think we're gonna have some great promo battles. And I think Swerve is going to have some problems. I think this is going to be one of the first times that Swerve has really felt like, you know, like, I mean, he's outnumbered.
Yeah.
He's
And
outnumbered this time.
let's not forget the Nick Wayne situation. And
Right.
let's not forget that they teamed up at All In, which was mentioned in the promo, which I thought was I thought that was great, because people were like angry that first things first, let's just get this out of the way here. Anyone who is mad about Christian Cage fighting for a world championship in 2024 needs to get your head checked out, because firstly, Christian Cage is, you know, a freaking first ballot Hall of Famer, right? Like, the guy is a genuine legend. He did incredible things in TNA. He did incredible things in WWE, and he's done incredible things in AEW. It would just be absurd not to think that he would have an opportunity to challenge for this with this new gimmick, with the patriarchy, which has been very good. So that makes no sense.
Then you've just not been watching like any AEW, and I'm not even talking about like every single week down. I'm like, you haven't even had a finger
On the pulse of what's going on. Yeah.
Because he has been doing phenomenal. And like, this is such a good choice. You have Swerve, who's been a babyface pretty clearly for a while, but as we've talked about before, long time is a nasty heel. So what better way to establish your champion, your babyface champion, as a surefire babyface by probably the only other guy to get more heat in the last year or so.
Yeah.
Just as a clear-cut heel. And on top of that, you know, look, I am all about like, yep, hey man, there's a little part of me as somebody who's been in the ring, like, let's leave all the room we can for the up-and-comers, and like, I've seen guys stick around too long. Christian is not like,
he's not that guy. I'm sorry, he's just not that guy.
He looks great, wrestles great. He's not like an old guy who's hanging on too long. Like him, Adam Copeland, these guys, even Jericho, who like has been going, like still finds unique things to do and offers something.
Yeah.
Very,
like, if
very
they were
valuable.
coming out like, and honestly, and not to be, I'm glad that Matt Hardy left AEW, because that's kind of what was happening to Matt Hardy in AEW.
And I think he felt that too. It's like, I'm not providing, I don't have a thing to do here that can provide that kind of value. So I'm going to go somewhere where I can. Christian is doing that with this patriarchy gimmick. I thought it was almost a meme when, you know, oh, the father.
Yeah.
And it's turned into such good shit.
It really has. It really has. It has been incredible. And I think also,
I don't know the status of Swerve's father.
And I don't mean that as like, I don't know if he's still around or if his father has passed or anything like that, but there could be so much meat on that bone.
Oh yeah, but I know that his dad is a veteran.
Yeah.
So
there could be some
It could get real nasty.
Yeah, like
It
should.
could get
This
real
should get
nasty.
nasty. This should be a feud.
And knowing Swerve, the cool thing about that is he's down, to work with Christian, be like, hey, yeah, let's get heavy. Let's get, like, he'd be cool with taking it to those levels, which could add a lot of oomph to that story.
Yeah, a lot of vitriol I see coming out of this. Like, I think it could get real bad.
Yeah,
like in a fun
and
way.
Especially not to overemphasize, sometimes when you do things, the way this got set up was just the heel
I
Young
love the way
Bucks
it
who
got
are
set up,
running
by
the
the way.
show. I do too. Normally I wouldn't, because sometimes it's too fast. Oh, we're the heel guys in charge. Your new challenger's a bad guy we picked. Whatever. There's no build up to whatever. But in the case of Christian, again, such a good foil, good heel that it is like, yeah. And it's like, we're all right, new champ, but there's new management. You're going to see a lot of things thrown his way and everything like that. So no, in this case, I really liked it.
And the way that they had built it up too. So like we were asking questions. Why is Swerve recapping everything that's happening? Why is Swerve talking about the Bucks? It was a bit bizarre, but it did ultimately serve that goal, which I think also goes to show you where it's like in wrestling, people are just so reactionary, like way too often, when they should just let the story kind of go, Like, I reflect on it when it has been fully, revealed or kind of like unfolded, or you at least have an idea. But for Swerve in his first reign, it's same thing with Cody. They're both like struggling to like find direction, but for different reasons, or they both were struggling to find direction. But that didn't happen with AEW. The direction has been laid out clearly because it was another overarching storyline that had consumed AEW and then led into this feud, which was the Young Bucks now taking over. And the other thing that I thought was really funny was at Collision, we had mentioned on this show, we were like, yeah, and they talked about Tony doing the show remotely. If it doesn't end with the Young Bucks like cutting off the feed or whatever, then I don't know why you're mentioning it. And they did just that. They literally did the thing that we said they needed to do, and it hammered that story home, that an episode of Collision to like tell us that Tony Khan is working from home and making this official. And then you have the hilarious video to start the show with Tony Khan and being with the neck brace and him like the music. Did you hear the music as well? It was like really inspirational, like corporate music. It was great.
I'll tell you what, one thing that I really like too about the is right off the bat, the Bucks addressed how they're still there.
Yeah.
Because that was one of my questions, was like, if one of the key points of this whole story is based around a guy getting fired for assaulting a coworker.
Yeah.
How the fuck are the Bucks still at AEW?
Yeah.
Fair question.
Like, that was my biggest thing, was like, why isn't Tony just firing them?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad that they were like ironclad contracts. And I'm like, okay, I'll allow it.
It's a silly cop-out thing, but I'm okay with it
but
because
you know what? I'm
it's
glad
okay
that
with
they
silly.
addressed it.
Yeah.
At least
that they
just drop
even
it in.
attempted it instead of just like letting
Ignoring
that sit out in the air. Yeah, because that shit, I can't stand that kind of stuff. But the fact that they were even just like, oh, we have ironclad contracts. I'm like, sure they do. Moved on. And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I like that they did that.
Yeah. And then, of course, there was the big thing that happened from that. And then, we'll move on from it. But Kenny Omega returns to AEW in dramatic fashion. And I won't lie, a lot of us, I thought this was the retirement speech. I was worried.
Oh, really?
It was like, he came out. When he did the.
I never got
felt
that
like-
idea.
When he did the thing, he only did it with one hand up. He kept his arm down. It was weird. It was like a weirdly done thing where it just, because you know what? I have flashbacks of when it happened with Edge. I have flashbacks of when it happened with, Bryan Danielson. Like,
Sure.
I remember it, and I remember being like, whoa, I'm excited. And then it come out, and it's like, I'm retiring. I remember the Mark Henry one, which was a debate, but it was still very good. And so, like, I just was, like, wondering. And also, he was in Winnipeg, so it just made a lot of sense for him to come out here and do this. But instead, we got good shit. We got some good shit. But I want to get your guys' thoughts on this. Kenny Omega, he's back. He's good. Kind of. I don't think he's going to be wrestling anytime soon. But he's been weaved into the story with the Bucks. And I got to say, this is good.
It's good. It's good. And you know what, to be fair, what your point, like my head didn't jump to that conclusion, but if other people's did, it only adds to what happened later in this. 'Cause if you do think maybe like, hey, maybe, or like, even if it's, I got to leave for a while, this thing I've been dealing with is horrible. I might be out a few years. Even if it was that, it's, it's heavy, it's real, and it's something that we've heard about and everything like that. But even then it plays in to the thing that happens next, which is when the Young Bucks and the Elite, what do they have they christened themselves something new with them, Jack Perry?
I think I've just been calling them the New Elite. That's really it's
sure.
really just the New Elite. The TNE. Or that New Elite World Order. I don't know, but they look. So my only real criticism of this team, and it's not really a big deal, but it's just something that I want to see more and more of, is I think that Okada just needs to continue to be the lead of this operation, like big bad guy Okada. I think it doesn't work if Okada is like a guy in the system,
just standing by.
Yeah. And it seems like they have been deferring to Okada on things, because he's the one who did the thumbs down for Tony. He's in the center, like he's the one that's very clearly like, they know what's going to happen. Like if Okada hits Kenny with a Rainmaker, right? But then it leads to this thing with Kenny and the FTR guys getting together. So this is going to be interesting. I think this is good because it you need something now that's got to establish this New Elite as like a dangerous faction. And this is the right way to go, I think.
I mean, yeah, look, I think they did a really good job. I mean, it's a little, like I said, it's like it's 101, but it's good shit. They attacked Kenny. They address his diverticulitis. They give him the old kind of kidney punch to the gut, and he sells it really, really well.
Yeah.
To the point where there were people in our Discord who legit like, oh, his fucking gut got fucked up again. Was that a shoot? When I can tell you, they would not have done all this physicality if he was not physically able to do it. But great sells, great story to tell, playing on that real life thing. And so it gave it extra edge.
I think it read more as real because the previous punch to the stomach that we saw happen wasn't really sold that well.
Yeah.
One of the things that I kind of hope is happening here that could seem fun, and I'm just kind of paying attention to the little things that are happening. If you notice, a lot of the stuff that the Bucks are doing is reactionary. It's reactionary to what Jack Perry is doing. I'm wondering if all these things that are happening if they're just leaning into it because Jack already did it. And they're leaning into this scapegoat persona of like, well, he did it first, so I guess that's what we're going to do now. And I wonder if it's kind of a thing of where the Bucks are going to maybe start to lose a little control of what's going on because Perry's not having a conversation with him. He's just doing it.
Oh, wait. Is this a little bit of fantasy booking, brother?
I mean, it could be. It could be, but I think that would actually be a really interesting route of like, they are trying to keep this facade of that they're the ones in charge, but their hand is being forced by Jack Perry.
Oh, that's gonna be fun.
that could be a really interesting twist on things. And I don't know if that's where it's going, but I just picked up that when it happened to Tony and when it happened to Kenny, the Bucks did something after Jack and Okada had already acted. So
interesting.
I don't know. I think that could be something interesting to watch and pick up on.
So you don't think they knew all along and are just kind of playing like, oh, how unfortunate. Whoops.
I mean,
anyway.
it could be. It could be one of the two. But but also think back to Dynasty. It seemed
They were surprised that Jack showed up.
That Jack was going to be there in the first place.
Yeah.
So Jack keeps forcing their hand, and they're just like, well, shit. I mean, it's benefiting us. So, like, you know, we can't control the wild dog. Maybe we can point him in a direction and hope
I think that is the
plays
more
out.
interesting story perspective.
Yeah.
For sure.
Before
we move on from this,
go for it.
there are two things. We're kind of out of story, just from a pure physicality thing that I want to point out.
Oh boy, I know where this is going.
You know where this is going.
I know where this is going.
You know one, but you don't know the other.
Okay.
So first, I didn't think I liked this, but I almost think I do, and I want to see how many times they can do it. So twice now, with the two attacks from the Young Bucks and everybody, the Bucks have they're setting up inadvertently ending up in that double V trigger thing.
Yeah.
Like first it was checking on Tony, are you okay? Hold his hand. Are you okay? Bam. Now Kenny was hurt. He was kind of grabbing at them guys, what the fuck are you doing? They grab his hands subtly and then they do it. I want to see how many different ways they can inadvertently grab some down person's hands and do it. Because at first I was like,
100%.
oh my God, are they really? We're trying to believe that oh no, here we are. But I kind of like it. I think it's really funny.
Too.
Yeah. And I want to see how many ways they can do it.
That's why I think it's well, shit, I guess let's just do this, because they had a whole conversation before they even did the EVP trigger.
Yeah.
Where they were just like, what are you doing? So I don't know. I think that further, but I also love it too. I think it's great.
What's the second thing?
Yeah.
The second thing you guys so look, there are some moves in wrestling that in the ring, in the context of a match, they're fantastic. But if I'm in a suit beating up someone backstage, why am I doing European uppercuts? Okada, you're better than this. Look, when we're fully clothed, brawling it out backstage, I don't throw knife edge chops because it's, even though I'm hitting another person, it just looks and seems silly. And
Sure.
it also makes it even less obvious.
European uppercuts from Okada while being held by the Bucks. I
know, again,
know?
it's so small, and it's more of just a me chuckling thing, and I just the idea of like I said, it'd be like doing a chop to a guy in a full suit. It's just okay, I just hear
It's like you set someone up for a suplex, but you come to him and be like, let me grab your head real fast. Here we go.
Yeah, it's one of those little things where it's more of a chuckle. It doesn't. The segment was still a good, shitty heel beat down and everything. It worked, but it popped the ever loving crap out of me.
I wonder if anyone told Okada, hey man, don't do the European uppercuts next time. Because they don't do that. They don't do that in New Japan, right? They don't do backstage that.
Not as many. Yeah, not to the point that we do it over here.
So I'll give him a little bit of a pass and be like, it was baby's first backstage brawl, and he's got and hopefully, he's like, okay, maybe, you could take the same book where everyone learns how to climb a ladder in professional wrestling. You could take the same book and just learn how to backstage brawl effectively. I think those are good. Learning is education. Okay, so
that's what we need to write a book. We need to write this book of we'll call it Learning the Tropes.
Learning the tropes. There,
and
I love
it's
it.
how to climb a ladder faster, how to execute a perfect backstage attack, how to all these things. Yeah,
we gotta we just gotta get a couple cameras, and you know what? Honestly, something we could legitimately do. I would be down to record that. Oh man! All right, well, let's go ahead and move on to the final thing. A little bit of news, just a small bit. Nothing crazy. Perhaps WWE just going over to another country and absolutely blowing the roof off the dang place. Seriously, they did an excellent job with Backlash. That was an awesome show. Although I'm going to say this right now to the people out there disrespecting the folks of San Juan, Puerto Rico. Okay, I'm going to come at you at the throat. All right, because even though the Backlash crowd was awesome in France, they were equally as awesome in Puerto Rico. Okay, last year.
Yeah, you were taking this personally as if somebody said, fuck Puerto Rico.
Hell yeah.
France is Nobody did. They just said it was
Scan,
awesome.
clip that.
Scan,
Clip that.
clip it. Clip that what he just said and ship it. Now we got him. We got him.
Buried.
No, I
Puerto
mean,
Rican community.
honestly, though, it was awesome, man. Like, having done these sports events in France, I can't say, like, the fan base for anything is, like, it's pretty nutty out there. So, no shocker.
The point to that is that, like, doing the event in Puerto Rico doing the event in France is showing that these markets that for a long time didn't get major shows. They were lucky if they got house shows every other year.
For it.
Yeah.
They are starving for it, and it makes for such good TV.
It really does. It really does.
I mean, that crowd was. I didn't know what I expected necessarily from the French.
Everyone was over.
Everything got cheered. Everything had its own cheers and chants, and like, I don't know what I expected from the French crowd. I don't know if I just expected a cloud of cigarette smoke and everyone sitting there silently, but look at that. The camera is bouncing.
The hard cam.
The hard cam is shaking
from people jumping up and down.
That is wild,
dude.
That is absolutely wild.
The Jey Uso clip. It was more. I don't know if it was a YouTube. It was a social clip. It looked fake.
Yes.
It looked like he was on a green screen and they were putting a bunch of lights behind him and everything. I'm like, no, that was a building full of people just bouncing with him. It was awesome.
Yeah. That was wild. What a hell of a crowd. And just like you said, the event in general, it seems like for the past couple years, there's been one, maybe two pay-per-views that you go into that you're just like, man, this will be a whatever, nothing burger, kind of like, this is just because we're supposed to have a pay-per-view now. This was great, and it was mostly wrestling. And I have to give credit where credit's due, and I'm going to do it to both WWE and AEW. It's like they've heard the criticizing from both sides of, AEW is just doing wrestling and there's no storytelling, or they're not doing any of that, and WWE is only storytelling. It's 50-minute promos and backstage segments and 2 minutes of wrestling. Brother, they swapped both of those this week. AEW told some damn good stories, and WWE had some damn good wrestling. That's like both Raw last night and Backlash
and SmackDown. Let's not forget SmackDown too.
We're so wrestling heavy. It was great. Yeah. And they still told great stories in the process. I mean, man, we've said it 1,000 times. Wrestling's good shit.
It really is.
It's so good right now.
It's a good time right now.
It's fantastic. We're eating good.
There is one match that I want to give specific attention to, and it's this
From
one
Backlash?
right here, baby. The Bloodline versus RKO.
Dude, that
was one of the craziest, best put together matches that we have been treated to in a very long time. And it was excellent. Absolutely excellent.
So good. And a great surprise that nobody really expected at the
Tonga
end.
Loa.
It was Tonga Loa. I mean,
my man. I love him so much. And that motherfucker, he don't age.
Yeah, he really don't.
None of them do.
God, when I first went, dude, like, to realize that when he was last in, it was like 10 years ago. I'm like, he looks like he's like, you tell me that man is like 27, I believe you.
Yeah.
You tell me that man is like 25, I believe you.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what to believe.
Yeah, it was crazy, man.
We're adding to that bloodline, baby.
Yeah, we really are. It's been so cool to see how that story is developing. I think the bloodline angle is going to be very, very. It's only getting better. Which is wild to say.
Yes, because especially now with the revelation.
Yeah.
Because now with the revelation that no one's really calling the shots, it's just Heyman.
It's a whole new angle.
Yeah.
I mean, that really that really makes things interesting.
And something about Backlash that I think is important and what I find very fascinating about all of this is that, like, in days past, when, as you had mentioned before, Jake, about, the way that these events were played out, right? You kind of could just move on from it because you knew, like, story-wise, nothing really crazy was going to happen. Wrestling-wise, it wasn't going to be like that, a masterclass. And WWE has and Triple H. I mean, Triple H kind of solved this with NXT. If I'm being completely honest, like when they were doing the old takeovers, like back in the day, I all those shows. Like I don't feel like there was a single skippable takeover show in the black and gold era of NXT.
Right.
Yep.
And they're treating their pay-per-views very much like this now. And this is the way to go. Like, because look, I knew going into it that Damian Priest was going to retain his title. There was just no reason for them to take the belt off of Damian Priest right out of the gate, right? I think there will quickly start to become a reason with how much Jey Uso has been building up. I think narratively, him hunting for that World Heavyweight title could be the validation that they need to certify the World Heavyweight Championship as a de facto 1B in the company to the WWE Championships, tier 1A, if you will. And there's something that they can definitely build upon there. But the fact that they've done less matches, even though they had big stories going into those matches, and everything felt either conclusive or felt impactful, was impressive. That was impressive.
I mean, there were only 5 matches on this pay-per-view, and a big story component came out of every one of them.
Yeah.
Every one of them, because we already talked about the Bloodline and RKO show. Then after that, you had Bayley winning the triple threat. Tiffany came out looking fantastic in that. So did Naomi. It was a great match.
Yeah.
That's going to further those stories. Damian Priest, more issues with inside Judgment Day. Jey Uso massively over. Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill are our new women's tag team champions.
Yeah. And I was a little bummed. I was a little bummed about it, but it was time. It needed. They were.
Why? Because Damage Control. You just wanted something more for them.
Well, I mean, now I just don't really know what happens to Damage Control from this point forward, and then which is I guess fine because you can't expect these teams to stay teams forever, and also the King and Queen of the Ring, which we'll dive into in a second, is giving WWE a good runway to transition people away from stories or from different arcs and characters that they're building up to
brand new avenues
and new stories and stuff. So there certainly is something positive to pull away from that.
Can we take one moment though to holy crap, Bianca and Jade are like a freaking
it's the new version of the Mega Powers.
Mega Powers, Road Warriors, Blade Runners, just like the athleticism, the strength, the physiques, but then they just look good as a unit together. There's been a huge credit to it. I think it was Kyrie saying in that closing sequence with Jade, but it's also Jade's incredible athleticism that catch, pop, turn around, throw her over, catch her, drop her in the fin. I'm like, holy crap.
She looked like, it made Kyrie look like one of those wrestling buddies from the 90s. You remember? That's what she looked like.
That's what I used to do to my body pillow.
Yes.
Leave that joke alone.
What's the shape, Matt? What's the shape of the body pillow, Matt? Oh, dude,
I mean, they look great. I think it's great for Jade because, the whole thing that they've been talking about, and even they addressed it somewhat on commentary, is like wanting, is Jade being a little inexperienced in the way of things at WWE and how matches and whatnot are done there. But she's a fast learner. She's picking things up very quickly. What better way than to pair her with Bianca Belair, who's a top shelf,
your top babyface in the entire company right now.
To both raise awareness of people who didn't know who Jade Cargill was until she came over, and get her more experience and make her seem like a legitimate threat. And I'll tell you this. When Bianca and Jade turn on each other, that match is going to be a fucking banger.
Yeah.
It's going to be so good.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. Those two have been dynamite in the ring together. They will continue to. Yeah, I'm. The real problem now is going to be how do you make the women's tag titles feel valuable now, because it has very much been a bit of a difficult one for WWE to kind of solve. So that's going to be the real toughie there. And I think I think putting the belt on Bianca and Jade already gets people caring about whatever they decide to do narratively. with those titles. So,
and I think we've seen a little bit of an attempt to do more women's tag team stuff. I mean, we've seen with Indy Hartwell and
Candice LeRae, that's going to be a good one. Yeah,
you know, we've seen them being showcased. We've seen Ivy Nile and Maxine, kind of teaming up. So I think we're starting to see some more women's tag teams start to come around. And yeah, I don't know why. I mean, there's no women's mid card title, so that really needs to be seen as an opportunity. Yeah, and I don't know why it's just been ignored to this point.
If I'm WWE, I would change my entire narrative build up for the tag titles to become if you're not fighting for the world title, you should be fighting for the tag title. You should be finding a partner to tag, because that is your mid card title right now.
Right.
You know, for that division, because you have 2 women's champions and you have tag titles that can merge between shows. So might be best for them to maybe go that route versus going the route of, it's just belts that we put on people so that we give them something to do.
Right.
It's no, it shouldn't be like that. I totally agree. Yeah. Of course, so that takes us into, we could talk about the main event briefly because it was all what we thought was going to happen. It was an incredible match nonetheless, though. It was absolute banger through and through. Both men giving us a classic. AJ Styles and Cody Rhodes really delivered on it. Do we get more legs from this? Do we get anything else from this, or is this a one and done? Do we go somewhere further from here? Because I really don't know. That's been the difficult thing about Cody's reign so far. It's hard to tell.
Yeah. So I think, as we talked about before, I feel like there's more legs with AJ and LA Knight, but given the performance and given the popularity of AJ Styles, it maybe seems like it's a little bit of a crime to move him out of it. I don't know if you maybe you merge LA Knight and AJ into the world title and you move into kind of like a triple threat scenario for the next big show.
Yeah.
Maybe. So you can keep that feud. And then you also have Cody continuing, has something to do. So it's not just moving on to run through somebody else sort of thing.
Yeah.
But given the reception to the match and just how good AJ is, continues to show how freaking good he is, deserves to be at the top. But yeah, let's get a little bit more story weaved in there, and maybe LA, and Cody's mentioned LA Knight as somebody he sees circling that a world title opportunity sooner rather than later. So maybe that factors in. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I go for it, Jake. Go for it.
Oh, I was just going to say, I understand it feeling like there hasn't really been a direction for Cody. And I honestly, I don't think it's that bad of an idea just to have him continue with AJ, because if they're going to keep putting on great matches like that, you
can't go wrong with it. You ain't going to hurt.
Let the story find itself, or figure out your way out of this while doing this in the meantime.
He did a burning hammer.
Be mad at that.
That was so sick.
The burning hammer was gnarly. It was what an incredible match.
Yeah, that match. Good. I'm looking at it right now on the video.
I don't know what the story is, but I ain't mad at them doing more of it.
Yeah,
to be quite honest.
It's very true. I'm okay with the tides turning a little bit here. WWE focusing more on putting on high quality 5-star matches and AEW doing a little bit more story. I'm okay. Yeah. I'm okay with it either way. It really has been special. We'll see, of course, what's next for Cody Rhodes. We'll find out on SmackDown, so we'll talk about that a little bit more next week. But we have Monday Night Raw, so we did get to see some of the fallout of what had happened at Monday Night Raw. Few things that I want to get this out of the way, just to be completely transparent. I did not like anything about the CM Punk promo. I felt it was flat. Partly because it's the same thing. It hasn't really changed.
We are starting to hit a little bit of
so I'm expecting
on that.
I'm expecting them to potentially, I guess, flip the switch on this thing
soon.
and turn, and get a little crazy. Because right now they're playing off that Drew's like injured his arm and they removed him from the King of the Ring as a result of that. And I just think that was a smart thing to do altogether, because genuinely speaking, Drew does not need to be in the King of the Ring right now. It would be cool, but I don't think it would serve the story they're telling. Do we know if he's legitimately
injured?
Yes, he has said that he is. That he hyperextended his elbow at Mania.
So that's the tough spot we're in now. Is we now have two guys who are they're not like mess up. They're not going to be out for months, so we can keep them on TV. But like they're not 100% ready for a match yet. So like, how do we keep this going? We couldn't get it at Backlash or whatever. We can't get it. Maybe we could get it by King of the Ring if everybody. I think they're just trying to going week by week to see like, when can you guys get 100% clear? When can you guys get 100% clear? And so until then, Punk, do what you do. Drew, be a troll. But it is hitting a little bit of that grinding, repetitive groove a little bit.
Yeah,
but you are forgetting about the best thing to come out of that segment, though.
What?
Was that sweet one shot right at the beginning.
Oh, yeah, that one shot was nice.
Drew pulling out.
Oh, Punk
pulling in.
Yeah, that was cool.
And then the walk to the ring. I love that shit.
Yeah.
I love it.
Those one shots were, and you also saw Chad Gable berating Alpha Academy on the side because, you know,
I love that they're telling multiple stories through these things. It's not like, is it a, like, you know, hey, this would be cool kind of thing.
Also,
100%.
Punk telling,
and I'm not mad at it, but they're using this opportunity to further
telling Gable to calm down, which I'm hoping, man. I hope that something happens with that. That'll be really good. If it's just like an offhanded comment, because WWE have proven that they would take an offhanded comment and then turn into a whole storyline. That's how we got RKO versus the Bloodline at Backlash. It was just, for some reason, Kevin Owens was inside of the room with Cody Rhodes and said, you know, this room is for winners only. So like that's what started the whole thing. So there's a lot of possibilities and directions that they could maybe go with this, but it was a little flat. We'll see what happens, you know, moving into next week. But I would say that, funny enough, like the stories this episode of Raw weren't that good. It was the ring. It was the action in the fucking ring. Was unbelievable. It was Sheamus versus Gunther. Fuck me, that was great. You had Ilya Dragunov versus Ricochet.
Oh my
God, put that in my veins every day. Lyra Valkyria versus Dakota Kai was another great match. I mean, geez Louise. Like Ivy Nile, Zoe Stark, I had no expectations going to that one. I enjoyed that one too. Like there were just great matches that were being done. Jey Uso, Finn Balor was another one that happened.
That was another great
opened
match.
It up.
That opened the damn show. Like the ring was incredible this week from WWE. Favorite match? You guys have a favorite match?
For me, it's it's a toss. I think I'm gonna say Ilya and Ricochet. And
totally
look, I am a huge Gunther mark. I love Gunther. I love all the shit that he's like. My favorite match from Mania last year was that triple threat for the IC title.
Yeah.
I loved that match. I love what Gunther does in the ring. I love his stuff with Sheamus. But man, I don't know what I expected from that. I honestly thought it might be a quick match. With them like, oh, let's really put Ilya over. Ricochet can take it. But those dudes...
Did they do three segments?
They went 3 segments.
They went 3 segments.
Went to commercial, another one, went to another commercial, and then finished.
And everyone and people were invested in the match from start to finish.
I think they even won him over because Ilya didn't get that much of a reaction when he came out. He got a little bit, and it's usually because, you know, there unfortunately is a disconnect between the audiences that watch NXT and watch WWE. I mean, not as many watch NXT. You'll hear about him, but it was just kind of one of those things where it was like, okay, new guy, sure, yay. All right, Ilya, we've heard about you. And, you know, we know Ricochet's great, and they come out and, like, I think they really won that crowd over. And by the end, it was just like, I mean, they were showing people in the crowd just like,
you know what it reminded me of?
Oh my God.
Do you remember back in the day when like they in Nitro, when they used to do like, you know, they would have like all this NWO bullshit And then out of nowhere, here comes Eddie Guerrero and Dean Malenko.
Here comes,
And they put on a fucking 5-star banger.
Yeah.
That crowd had no business watching. They did not deserve. And they go out there, and it felt like that. It felt like with a lot of these guys who are good in the ring, but maybe not the most connected when it comes to the audience for their promo and their ability to speak. Not saying Ricochet isn't, because I think he's getting there for sure. They're just letting the in-ring do the talking, because Triple H knows that when people see cool things in the ring, they react. It's just, I mean, that's it, right? You see people do things you've never seen before, you're going to be like, holy shit, this is cool. Like, I want to watch this. That's the reason why, like, we were all, that's why we were all so excited for Will Ospreay, because we're like, he's going to show us shit in the US that we've never seen before, that people have just weekly TV has never been exposed to. And this is what we're getting now. We're getting Dragunov exposing people to his brilliance. We're getting Ricochet being featured on TV every week. Although, a few things here, okay? Important stuff to point out, okay? Ricochet did not come out with the Speed Championship.
I wasn't going to
highlight it. So is it canon?
Canon.
But it was mentioned on Raw that he won it.
They threw to a little tweet or whatever about it.
That's why he lost to Ilya. That's why he lost to Ilya, because once it got over the 3-minute mark, he was screwed.
He was done. It was not. What else could he possibly do?
Does Ilya have a future WWE Speed title shot?
Maybe. Good question. Good question.
According to old school logic, right? You pin the champ.
But I mean, as soon
does
as
it
that went over
count if
3
you
minutes,
pin the champ and he doesn't come out with the belt? These are questions.
He's Triple H. You have some splaining to do.
Where are my lore heads?
Okay.
Where are my title lore heads?
We need the lore heads walking out. Okay, lore heads sounds just like so many things can go wrong with that. But yeah, and then of course the last thing, Damian Priest, chatted it up with. Oh wait, actually we didn't get the other favorite matches. Matt, what was your favorite?
I said Gunther Sheamus.
You said Gunther Sheamus. Actually,
Which?
I was the only one who didn't pick. I'm gonna go Finn and Jay. I really liked Finn and Jay.
Yeah.
I knew Finn was gonna lose, but I was like, I just want Jey Uso to put Jey Uso in good matches, and that's what they're doing. Finn's just a great dance partner, It's always going to be a good match.
I also want to give credit to the women, because those matches were fantastic.
Oh, they were.
It was another that they could have just been a 5-minute whatever.
Io and Natty?
Yeah, Io and Natty was a great match.
That one was fantastic.
Yeah.
For a minute I was like, Natalia's gonna win this thing.
Shit, you're right. Great. Actually, damn, that was a good one. Oh,
that was a really good match.
Yeah, actually,
I was blown away.
Yeah,
I was blown away by the in-ring product from WWE this week.
Natalia's another person who just every time she's in the ring, it's always
Steady
good.
hand.
It's always good. But we had Judgment Day come out this week, do some apologies to one another. I will say right now, the story's a little weird. The story's not hitting because there's too many question marks. There's too many variables. What's going on with Finn? What's going on with Dom? JD feels like he will turn on Damian in a moment's notice. I don't know why. But it's weird. I don't know where this story's going. Maybe that's the compelling part, and I'm just expecting too much. Each and every week. I don't know. How do you guys feel about the current Judgment Day arc?
I can't put my finger on it. I get it. I get where they're going. I mean, a little bit of tension. That every faction story ends up doing that. There's something I literally can't put my finger on it, but something is not quite clicking.
This would be working way more if Rhea was here.
Would it? I don't know.
I have thoughts and opinions.
I can't believe this is a thing now.
Yeah.
Well, then you should join the club of thoughts and
I think I
opinions.
did 1 or 2 weeks ago, and I hate myself for it.
Yeah. Okay, what's your thoughts and opinions?
So, first of all, I think what I actually thought was an interesting and kind of a refreshing move was that Damian apologized. Sincerely, legitimately apologized. Said, you know what? I fucked up, and I'm sorry. It was heat of the moment, and that was a refreshing moment because you don't see people in wrestling.
That's true.
And especially in factions, cop to when they screw up.
Especially the leader.
Especially the leader and the world heavyweight champion. All right. Actually showed some humility. And I think that that's important because what I think is happening is we're transitioning to them being presented as baby faces. And I think the catalyst...
All of them or one of them?
All of them.
Ooh.
Because I think the catalyst for this is Liv Morgan.
Oh. Okay. Go on. Is it because of the picture?
You better throw up that fantasy booking.
Oh, here we go.
Throw it up.
We get some fantasy booking.
Because here we go. Here's what I think is happening. So we saw them, like I said, out in the ring, apologizing, have a genuine conversation. It seemed that JD took it. I actually think this is an interesting direction, like I said, because this is not something you typically see from a faction. The only time where you've really seen something like this is New Day. Like where New Day seems to have each other's, back no matter what. And shit happens and we get hot, but we, hey, we move on from it. And I think that's important if we want to have some more longevity with this kind of group. Now, play that video again, if you don't mind. The one that you just played and I'm going to ask you to pause it at a certain point when it comes up. If you're listening to the podcast, I apologize, but I'll spell this out for you, even if you're not watching along. And let's see.
Was it after or before when they hugged? Before?
No, it was. Pause it.
Pause it right. Okay. Oh, pausing it.
Look at Dominic.
Okay. Dominic right here.
Dominic is wearing a purple bandana in this segment.
So is JD.
Okay. Sure. So is JD.
Okay.
But later in the show, when we see Dominic bring Carlito to the group, he's not wearing it.
Oh. Interesting. Hold on a second.
Okay.
Okay. Let me see if I can find that, but I don't know if I will be able to. But all right, that's interesting.
But now here's the other part. Liv Morgan posted photos of herself on Twitter.
She did.
And
there is
one of the pictures, which I sent to our group, if you look in her pocket,
right here,
that looks like a purple bandana.
Oh, and there's purple.
And there's purple.
And then there's
in the
purple in the background.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that is a folded up bandana in her pocket for sure.
So here's what I think is happening. Because Liv even called her shot in her promo later. She's saying, you've given me focus. I want revenge on Rhea Ripley. How is she going to get revenge on Rhea Ripley? Well, for starters, she's going to win that championship. And she's going to be brought into the fold of Judgment Day by Dom with the argument of, well, I know she hurt her, but she's got the title. She brings that prestige back.
She's a powerful ally, whatever.
She's a powerful ally.
Damn,
let bygones be bygones. And then slowly but surely, Liv Morgan is the one who's starting to plant these seeds of doubt from within Judgment Day, trying to break them up. And then and the crowd will see what Liv's doing, because Liv is shockingly getting booed. She's getting booed. She's playing her part as the heel very well.
Didn't Liv say in her promo directly, I'm going to take everything Rhea loves?
And what does she love? She loves the Judgment Day. She's going to infiltrate that group through Dominic.
So,
she's going to infiltrate through Dominic. It's going to sow discourse. They're going to have more problems, but they're still going to stick together. And who comes back to save Judgment Day? Rhea Ripley.
Yeah.
And she comes back to take her revenge on Liv Morgan for putting her out and having to relinquish the championship. That's the direction I can see this going.
That's going to be excellent.
And that would be a blast.
That's going to be
excellent. That would be
excellent.
so much fun.
I would co-sign that. That's
my fantasy booking for the week.
I love it.
That's what I would love.
I think that's a good place to end. I mean, unless Matt, you got anything to add on to that?
That's fantastic.
That is good. We'll let that simmer and marinate with our audience for a little while. And make sure you guys let us know what you think about this on our Discord. Do you think Jake's theory is a little topsy-turvy? He dropped on his head one too many times as a child? Let us know, specifically that one.
Two things can be true. We've said that before.
Two things can be true. That is very certain. Very certain. All right, well, guys, we're getting close to the end of the show. So what is as we always do, our favorite part of this show? And if my dang stream deck would freaking work, here we go. There it is, a 24/7 champion of the week. We got some nominations. We have some thoughts. Anyone we want to nominate this week? I got to actually think, because I didn't. There were a few things that popped up this week for me. But damn.
Well, while you hear it, you know what? I'll take a second. While you guys think, I have mine. You guys think for 1 second. I'll just take this moment to remind you guys, we did talk about, with me being on the road, GB's getting ready to be on the road this week. Sure. This will be the only episode this week, so there will not be a short episode on Friday. But again, keep up with us on socials. You'll see the shorts. Discord, keep the conversation going. Maybe for next week we can include.
And honestly, we might just clip some
booking.
of this stuff. We might just clip. I think the fantasy booking was just too good this week. We're going to clip it, make it its own thing.
Sure.
It's too
Let
good.
it live on its own.
Let it live on its own. Maybe throw some editing on it. We'll see. We'll maybe put the editor onto the task. We'll see if he's got some time. Okay. I have mine.
All right.
Okay. I don't want to go first, though. I don't want to go first.
I'll go first.
Yeah, go for it, Matt.
Mine was not on television, but I think it was very well known within the wrestling zeitgeist. So this weekend, I believe it was on Saturday, the day of Backlash, I'm going to give my 24/7 championship of the week to someone strong, someone secure, someone who, knows how to do their job. And that is the security system and locks on Titan Towers at WWE HQ. Because unless it was a really, really funny work, I loved it. CM Punk was live sharing to his story after the pre-show to Backlash, went to get a workout at Titan Towers. Great gym, by the way. I've been there. And ended up getting locked in the building for quite some time. So we just wandered around WWE HQ shooting Instagram stories, and it was very entertaining. So thank you, security system.
He even nut tapped the Undertaker's statue. Which was freaking awesome. I love it. All right, so we got CM Punk trapped in the Titan Towers as our 24/7 champ of the week.
The locks. CM Punk was great, but the locks are what brought it to us.
The locks from Titan Towers, not CM Punk there. The locks are being nominated for 24/7 champion of the week. Jake, who do you have?
I mean, it's hard not to say France. It's hard to not just say France. Because, I mean, we saw, I mean, even on SmackDown, we've seen clips from from the live shows that were going on, and Backlash was just the French are crazy.
Much singing.
The French are nuts.
And
they get into it. It was great. So much singing. You can't say the word phenomenal over there without them breaking out and doing it.
You have to sing it.
To a song. Okay.
They were great. I have to give it to them. I know I usually have a jokey one, but I wanted to go with a real one.
So now I feel like a ding dong. But you know what? I'm going to go for it because
dive in.
Guys, it's happening. I don't know if you see the seeds being planted week in and week out, things occurring. You see like certain individuals getting those opportunities, but you know who's one individual who's very much on track to get himself a big title? Bronson freaking Reed, baby. He's doing it. He's going to be the Intercontinental Champion. I know it. It's not going to be Chad. It's not going to be Sammy. Bronson Reed's going to be the Intercontinental Champion. I'm calling it right now. It's happening, okay? It's got to happen. I'm tired of this shit.
I'm calling it right now. Now. I will never, ever vote for Bronson Reed to win the 24 until he wins the championship.
You sick bastard.
Then,
I can buy that.
Then and only then will I give it to him.
I co-sign.
Only then.
You know what? Then I say we give it to France. Then
I can go with France.
although the locks
France
are
is
really
another
good.
level.
Maybe we do a
really
double
good.
tie. Maybe we do a double tie. Bronson Reed loses.
No. It's okay. I'm good with France.
Are we good with France? All right, so France.
Vive la France.
Vive la
The
France.
country of France.
Vive la 24/7 El Champion.
We're going to have to print out a lot of belts or JPEGs, one or the other. We're just going to have to send them all to the people of France. Congratulations, you guys. And that is a title worth having, honestly. Kind of like, not like the Cheez-It Championship, but that is definitely a belt worth having. All right, guys. Well, that is going to do it for us this week on Rebooked. So much happening in the world of professional wrestling. It's been incredible top to bottom. Everyone's cooking on all cylinders, and I mean, I'm just stoked. As we had mentioned before, there is going to be it's going to be slowed down a little bit for the next few weeks. We are going to be releasing our normal show when those come up. Full transparency, I don't know what the hell's going to happen in China, whether or not the internet's going to work with me out there or how it's going to work. So, the shows, I know I'm adding some graphics and new things this week. Show might be a little bit more bare bones going into the next few, just because I'm going to be in China for VCT Shanghai, and Matt's still on the road. So it's going to be a little wacky. But we thank you guys so much for joining us here. And if you liked any of the fantasy book and you enjoyed any of the things we talked about on this podcast, Jake, what should they do?
Man, they should spread the word. For starters, spread the word, share that joy with everyone else throughout the world. Then you need to go rate and review. Tell us how great this show is. Tell us how great we are. We know, but we like to hear it from other people.
That's right. We like
Join our Discord
praise.
and keep chatting with us in there about it. Throw your own crackpot ideas and schemes and fantasy bookings within the bowels of our of our Discord.
I love it. And Matt, is there anything they could do on YouTube potentially?
Oh, I mean, you have a plethora of options on YouTube to choose from. You can like, that helps the show. You can subscribe, that helps the show even more. You can tell friends all around it, which is even the best way to do it. But commenting below is one of the best ways. And you know what? We didn't ask a question this week, so I'm going to ask a question specifically to our YouTube viewers, because you have the option to comment. Our question to you is, what was the best song that the French audience sang? Was it the You Are Truly Phenomenal AJ Styles? Was it the Hey Bailey song that came from a few years back? Was it the Jey Uso song? What was your favorite song that the French crowd sung? Comment on the YouTube video. Let us know.
Let us know. There you have it, folks. This has been another edition of Rebook. We thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you next week. Peace. Later, everybody.
Later.